Hello everyone, welcome you all to my channel. In this video we are going to cover the basics of Docker. So if you are learning from zero, you are in the right place. So what is Docker? Docker is a way to have operating system level virtualization, and it helps you to develop software and deliver them as a package, a complete package. So before moving on, so let's see what is virtualization. Assume that you have a Windows laptop with you or Windows computer with you and you want to try out Ubuntu. How are you going to do this? One way is that you can set up a dual boot, or the other way is that you can use a virtual machine. So, setting up a dual boot, so that means you are installing two operating systems to your computer. So, that means you are installing both Windows and Ubuntu. But the downside is whenever you need to switch between these two operating systems, you have to reboot the computer. So if you are on the Windows, you have to reboot the computer and switch to Ubuntu. But on the other hand, if you are using a software like virtual machine, you can simply set up any other operating systems on top of your Windows laptop or computer. So that means uh, you are installing kind of a software to your computer, and that software allows you to install different other operating systems as virtual environments on top of your Windows computer. So these environments are called virtual environments. So in this case, you don't need to reboot the server whenever you need to switch between these operating systems. It will be just another software which is running on Windows. You open the software and start using Ubuntu. That's it. It's very simple. So I hope you got the idea behind what is virtualization. So in summary, virtualization means you can have virtualized environments, so as many as you wish, in any kind of host machine. So now let's discuss about Docker. So as I explained earlier, you can use Docker to deliver your software as a package. So these packages in Docker context we call them as images. So we use these images to start containers. So containers are the one who is helping you to isolate or virtualize your host, your environment from the host machine. So let's discuss about this isolation. So let's assume that you have an application which requires PHP 8.1, MariaDB and Apache to run. So this will be the middleware stack for your application: PHP, MariaDB and Apache. So when you deliver this software to end users, you are delivering it with a guide. So that guide will have what kind of server or what kind of system that they need to have in order to install this software, number of CPUs, number of RAMs. Other than that, that guide should include how to install these middleware too: PHP or MariaDB, Apache, how they can set it up. Sometimes these end users computers will have different other versions of PHP. Maybe their computer will have PHP 5.6, which is a bit old. Maybe they have a PHP 7.4, and they may have MariaDB different other version. You are recommending to go with MariaDB 10.11, but they may have another version. Sometimes it will be hard for them to install another middleware version in the same computer. So with Docker, what we do is, so we have a container. We put all these into this container. Okay, you put your application code, and then you put the MariaDB, PHP 8.1, and Apache. So all the requirements of your application or all the dependencies of your application is available inside this container. So you deliver this container as an image to the end users. So end user doesn't need to install anything on their machine or the computer, they can simply start using this container because all the dependencies are there. They don't need to install middleware there. Doesn't matter what kind of operating system they are using. Maybe the end users are on Linux, or maybe they are using Mac OS or Windows, but they should have one thing, which is a container runtime. So in this case, we are talking about Docker. So they need to have this Docker installed in their computers. So if they have Docker, we deliver our container as an image to them. So they start using that image. They simply start these containers in their laptops or the computers. It's very easy. It will be like this. They will have different environments, Linux, Mac OS or Windows, but they will just start using your application without worrying about the middleware. So this is how it looks like. So Linux user may have PHP 7.2, and in Mac OS one they will have different other versions installed like Nginx or MariaDB 10.1, but no need to worry because your container has everything that it requires by your application. Okay, let's discuss about some basic concepts or the basic theories of Docker. So here I'm going to cover the basic architecture of Docker and what is Docker engine and what is a Docker client and what is a Docker registry, and then Docker images and Docker containers. After all, we are going to see some hands-on experience with Docker. So let's move on. So Docker architecture. Basically, Docker architecture has three components. One is the client, which is in the left side, and then the Docker host and the registry. Let's see what are these one by one. So this particular combination, client and the Docker host, we call Docker engine. So Docker engine means that is the one actually running. So there's a Docker daemon and there's a client. So Docker daemon is the software or the service which is running somewhere, maybe in your laptop or maybe in your server. So Docker client is the tool that you are using to communicate with this daemon. And you may ask, okay, I need a container like this, start it. So you use Docker client to communicate that information to Docker daemon and get the work done. Very simple. Basically, a Docker is a client-server application. So that is what we have mentioned here. Like you have a client, you have client tools, and your Docker host will be the server. So you are using client to communicate with the Docker host. So this is where you develop and run applications. Whenever you develop something, you are working with Docker client and Docker engine. And also this includes a REST API too. So Docker engine expose a REST API. It is not open by default. You have to open it manually. So let's discuss a little bit about Docker daemon. So Docker daemon is the background process. So it will constantly listens for Docker API request. So as I explained earlier, always you use Docker client to communicate with this daemon and give instruction to daemon to do what. So the REST API. So this is the API exposed to the outside. As I mentioned earlier, this is not exposed by default. You have to do some configuration and expose it, and then it will help you to interact with the Docker daemon again. So you can use any type of HTTP client to communicate with this REST API. So then Docker CLI, this is again one another Docker client which you use to communicate with Docker daemon. So you pass instructions using these clients to the Docker daemon and get the work done. Docker registries. So this is similar to the GitHub. GitHub is used by developers to store their code bases and to manage the versions. Similar to that, when it comes to Docker images, we use these Docker registries to store images and manage the versions. So Docker Hub is one of the main image repository available on the internet, which is the official Docker repository. So it is free, so you can also create accounts there and put your images, and also you can create your own repositories. So like you can use services like Amazon ECR, and there are many other tools similar to Amazon ECR. You can try them out too. So let me show you what this Docker Hub is. So you can access this Docker Hub. uh, just search Docker Hub, and this is the website hub.docker.com. So this is Docker Hub. So if you want to find an image like Ubuntu, you can simply type Ubuntu here and search it. It will list down almost all the official and unofficial Ubuntu repositories. You can filter the trusted contents. So if you want to try the Docker official image which you can trust, you tick on this one. So this is one of the Docker official images. If you go inside this one, so this is the command that you should use to download this image. And if you look at the tags, this is where they maintain the versions. Like if you want, this is the latest. And then like if you want to try the Jammy, you can try it from here. And focal and 24.04, 23.10. Likewise, you can specify the version and download it. So let's come back to this place later. So I'm moving back to the presentation. So let's discuss about images and containers. So image is the blueprint of a container, so which is a read-only binary file. There's nothing much. It has all the instructions or the requirements which are required by the container. So the container is the running instance of your image. So it is the encapsulated environment for your application, and it only have access to the resources that are defined in the image. And also you can create a new image using a container. Hang on with me and I will show you some practical examples so you will easily understand what is an image and what is a container. So let me show you this image and container creation by a diagram. So we use a file called Dockerfile to create image. This is basically the programming part. You put your instructions here and use this Dockerfile to create a Docker image. Actually it's the build part. So you build the Docker image, and actually this will be the one, Docker image is the one that you deliver to your end users. And then you run containers using this image. So the container is the active one, so that is the running part. So you can create or run any number of containers using a single image. So as I mentioned previously in this slide, you can create new images using a container. So here what I explained is you create a Docker file, and from that you create a Docker image. So the other way is you start a container using the image and do some changes here, and then simply you can commit that particular running container as a new image. So let's try something. So before that, let me give some idea about Docker Hub again. You can go to hub.docker.com. Charge, it is free of charge. You can create account from here, your own account. Then you can save your images here, image work here. And also you can search any type of image here. Like as we search, let's say I want to try Apache image, I just type http, or can say httpd, and I want to try the Docker official image. So this is one of the official images, so you can download it. So, and also similar to the previous image, if you go inside this one, you can check, there's a readme file here, description. So it has all the information that how you run the container, and how you, what are the like parameters that you can pass to the container when you run it, likewise. And and also the tags. So if you want to find a specific version of Apache, you can find it from the tags. So you can search, even if I want to try the 2.4 version, I will search it and you can find the 2.4 versions. So you can download the specific version. Okay, so let's get our hands dirty. So I'm using a Ubuntu computer. So before that, let me show you how you can download the Docker and install it. So it is also, it's very simple. So you search Docker install. I recommend you to always follow the official guideline here. So you go to this link, install Docker Engine, and you can select your operating system from here. If you are using Linux versions, you have CentOS, Debian version or RHEL versions, you can select the relevant version. If you're on Ubuntu, you can click on this one and follow the guides mentioned here and install it. It's very easy. And if you are on a Mac or if you are using a Windows, I prefer you to follow the Docker desktop installation. So it is very easy. Here you can find the steps for Mac and Windows and also to the Linux also. So it's very easy. You will have a kind of a UI so where you can manage your containers. So try that out. Okay, so I have already installed Docker in my machine. So to check the service, what I am doing is I'm running the command service docker status. So you can see the Docker service is running. So that is the command that you use to check the status of the Docker service. And then let me try some commands here. So another command that we used to see the images which are already downloaded to your machine is docker images. So you can see there is no image. The result is empty. Also there is another command where you can do the same, which is docker image ls. So you can see the result set is empty again. And so let's download one image. So what we can do, so let's go back to Docker Hub and I'm going to download Apache. I'm looking for TTPD. So this is our official image. So let's download docker pull httpd. So that is the command docker pull httpd. And here one thing to mention that if we want a specific version, as I mentioned here, those have been mentioned under the tags. So if you want a specific version like 2.4.58, you can see the command is like docker pull httpd and then column 2.4.58. So the tag is mentioned after the column. So but in this case I'm not going to put the tag, so I'm not going to put something like this column and blah blah blah. So what happens, let's see what happens if I issue this command. But before that, let me download 2.4.58. So I'm specifying the version, so 2.4.58. Yeah, my version is correct. So I'm running the command, so it will download the version exactly the 2.5 2.4.58 from Docker Hub. You can see it is downloading. Okay, now it is downloaded. So I want to explain a couple of things here. So one thing is that always you can put the version here, like httpd is the repository and then column and after that the tag. So usually the tag is the version. So they are managing the versions through tags. So here you can see it says pulling from library httpd. So if we go back to my slides, so I have mentioned here when we discuss about the Docker registries, Docker is configured to look for images on Docker Hub by default. And also in the next point, I am telling that you can have your own repositories repos if you need. And there I have mentioned that you can use a service like Amazon ECR if you need to create your private own repositories. So there are some other services also. So when I download this one here, I didn't mention where you should get this particular TTPD repository. Should it from Docker Hub or from any other repository? The reason is that by default Docker is always going to get the images from Docker Hub. So if you are using a custom repository, there will be extra input to this particular command. You have to specify your full repository path here. Instead of just the httpd, the repository, you will have to put your repository path here. So then now let's see the downloaded images. Now let's list down the images available in my machine. I'm running the same command here again, docker images. You can see the downloaded images here. ttpd is the repository and the tag is 2.4.58. It has image id and it is created 3 weeks ago and size. And now I want to show you that what if I run the command like docker pull and a ttpd. What do you think? What will happen? So let's try. You can see it says, since I did not mention the tag here, it says it is using the default tag, the latest. So usually all these Docker repositories has a default tag which is latest. So if you do not specify the tag here when you pull the image, it will always get the latest version or latest tag version. So now I should have two images. So if I run the docker images command again, you can see I have now two images, httpd 2.4.58 and another one httpd, the latest version. Alright, now let's start a container. So how to start a container? So you can find all the instructions from the website Docker Hub. So if you go to the Explorer or the overview, from here if you scroll down, uh, yeah, so you can see if you are using a Docker file, you can use this one, or else you can simply run a container using this particular command. You can see docker run dit, and you can give it a name, and then you can open the ports, and there's a volume part I'm not going to do at the moment. So let's try this out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to docker run, and first let me clear the screen. So I'm going to run docker run and igd. So this particular input will tell, okay, this should run in as a daemon process and in the interactive mode. So I will explain these in a separate tutorial, and now I'm going to give this a name, my Apache, and then let's give the image name httpd, and when you specify the image you should use it along with the tag, otherwise it will always refer to the latest. So I'm going to use 2.4.58 for now, and I need to open a port also, otherwise I will not be able to access that particular container. So here I'm putting the -p, and then you specify the host port. So I will put it like 88 and port 80. So in here the first port, this 8088, is the host machine port, and this will be the container port which is running inside the container. This will be opened in your host machine. So this is the mapping. So from this Ubuntu machine, there will be a port running 8088, and it will be mapped to inside the container which is port 80. So let's run this one. So you can see it gave me some kind of ID. This is actually the container hash ID. So now if I want to see the running containers, I can issue the command docker ps. So you can see we have one container running, so you can get the information also here, um, container ID and the image that we used to create it, and it was created 14 seconds ago. And you can see the port mapping here, the host machine from any IP 8088, and it is mapped to the port 80 inside the container, and the container name is Apache. So, and also there's another command which you can use, docker ps-a. That means it will list down all the containers which are running and also not running. So right now I have only one running container, there is no not running container, so you will see only the same output in both cases. So let's try to access this particular port 8088 from the browser. So open in browser. So I'm trying to access his localhost port 8088. You can see it works. How do we verify that this comes from this particular container, or is it coming from somewhere else? So let's see how we can change this text. So you can use a command like docker exec command to go inside this particular container. So I'm using docker exec, that means execute. So actually we are using this execute command to execute some commands inside the container. So I'm using exec and then interactive mode, and then I give my container name, my Apache. So actually here, instead of the container name, you can use the container ID also, and then I'm executing the bash. So now I'm inside the container. You can see my host has been changed and the user has been changed, root, and then the container ID here. This is, and this one is same. Right now I'm inside the container. So usually this stays on this htdocs folder. So you can see there's a index.html. So I'm trying to edit this one. Let's cat edit, and you can see it has something like this. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to echo, I'm going to give a different message here. So let's copy that out, and it works. I would say hello everyone, and I'm going to write it to this index.html again. So let me fix this typo here so we can remove it. So let's remove this one. Okay, so now my content needs should be hello everyone. So if I go back to my browser and refresh it, I should see hello everyone. So now we have verified that we are accessing actually the container. So now another thing that I want to show you is that now we have done a change to this particular file here. By default it comes with the content of it works. So now we have done some kind of a customization. We have done a change here, hello everyone. So now I'm going to do some extra changes. So I'm going to apt, since this is a Ubuntu container, I think it's Ubuntu, we can verify it, check the, yeah, it is the Debian version. So I'm going to run apt get update, and it's done. Also let me clear the screen. So I want to install something inside the container. So I'm trying to access Vim. Whether Vim is installed, you can see Vim is not found. So I'm going to install it. Apt install Vim. You can see it is installing. Okay, now we are done. So installed. So if I run the command Vim, you can see the Vim is working inside the container now. So if you can remember, we have done two changes now. One is that we have changed the content of this index.html file, and then we have installed Vim inside the container. So to exit from the container, what you can do is that you can type the command exit. So you will exit from your container. Now I am in my host machine. So now let me show you the running container. So this is the running container. So now if I go back to my presentation here I am explaining that. So I didn't explain yet about Dockerfile, but now we have used a Docker image and we have created a Docker container using that one. And also I have done some changes to this container now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit this particular container as a new image. So let's go back. So I'm running the command docker commit, and then you give the container name, which is my Apache, and then you can give any name to your image as you wish. So I'm giving it like Apache. Instead of giving a version, I'm going to give it a text, like let's say changed, and commit it. So you can see it is passed. So now if you run the docker images command, there should be 3 images. You can see Apache, these two are the ones that we have downloaded previously. This is the one that we have created right now. You can see 7 seconds ago. Apache is the repository and the tag is changed. Now can you guess that what if I start another container using this particular image? Will I have the Vim inside that container? And will I have this particular updated content there? So ideally it should, right? So let's see. Let me see run the running container. So now I'm going to stop this one. Stop my Apache, and yeah, you can see my Apache is stopped. And if I run the docker ps, you will not see any containers running. But if you run the docker ps -a, and then you can see the stopped containers exited 12 seconds ago status. You can say check the status here. And then now let me start another container. Docker run the name, I will put it as default Apache, and I'm gonna give it a, I'm gonna expose a port, same port I'm going to expose. It's 89 and port inside the container, and then the image ID httpd, and it was 2.4.58. So this is the one that we have started earlier also. I'm going to create another container from the same image, and then let me start another one. Run td name, I'm going to give it a changed Apache, and then let's have another, so 87 maybe, and 80, and I'm going to use my new image. I have tagged it as Apache and changed. This was the image name. So let's start. You can see it is also started. Now if I run the docker ps command again, I should see two image containers running. You can see I have two containers running. See, this one was created using the image httpd 2.4.2.4.5.8, and this one is the top one is created using Apache changed one. So now you can guess that. So this particular container will not have Vim installed, and that will have the default it works message in the index.html. But if you go inside this one, you will find that Vim is installed and index.html is updated to hello everyone. So let's try to access these two ports from the browser. So I'm going to access 89, which is my default. You can see we have the default message, and then I'm gonna access my new one 8087. You can see the updated content is here. So now let's go inside the this particular container, the updated images one. So we changed docker exec it and bash, and if you try to issue the vim command, the vim should be available because we have installed it previously in that container before we commit it as image. Now it is available in this image. So, and if I exit and try to log into this one, docker, I'm using the same command, and Apache bash. Yeah, so here you will not find vim is installed. You can see the command is not found. That is because this is the default. We have created this particular container using the default image. There we don't have the vim. So but this container we have created using the newly created image, which was Apache changed. So this particular image we included the vim also. So okay, so now we have done one part. We have started using a docker image, and from that we created a container, and we have done some changes to the container, and then again we committed it back as a new docker image. Now let's see this part, how you can create a docker file and using that how you can create a new image. So I'm going back. So let me clear the screen. Let me create a folder here. Okay. Okay, let me create a Docker file here. Docker file, and now I should put some content here. So again, you can, if you want to try out, so you can go back to your this Docker hub, and under the description you can find how to create an image using a Docker file for this Apache one. So I'm following the same. You can see from HTTPD 2.4 is there, so I'm going to use the same. So that means basically, what we are going to do in here is we are extending our new image from the HTTPD 2.4 image. So this will be the base image for the image that we are going to create. So I'm going to use 2.4.58, which was the one that I used previously, and then you can do some changes here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to echo. So before that, let me find the path. So how I find it is docker exec it. I need to go inside this one, and I'm looking for the path at tdocs. So this is the path, guys. So this will be the path. So I'll make a copy and exit, clear the screen, and again file. So I'm going to put some again extra content. I'm going to do the same thing that we have done before. So let me explain what I'm going to do. So earlier what we have done is we started a Docker container using a Docker image Apache 2.4.58, and then we have installed um, Vim inside this container, and then we have changed the what you call the index.html content, and after that we created a new image using that. So now what we are going to do, we are using Dockerfile to change this particular image. So uh, we are extending from the Apache 2.4.8, and we are going to install Vim inside the container. So I'm going to write it in the Docker file, and then I'm going to change the HTML content, index.html content, also using the Docker file. So let's go back to the terminal. Okay, so I'm going to put something here. So I'm going to say I'm just put h1 tag. So I'm going to give it like hello from Dockerfile, Dockerfile example, and then I'm going to close my h1 tag, and I'm going to put it to the path. This is the path. So this is one command that we are running, but to use this one, so this is a Linux command. So usually this is the command that should run inside the container. To run inside, we put the keyword here, run. So run this particular command inside the container before it builds the image. So then let me run another one, so which is apt get update, sorry, update and use, and then run apt install vim y, and yeah, that's it. So let's save this one. Now we can see the content. We are extending this particular image from the HTTPD 2.5.8, and we are doing some changes. We are changing the default HTML content to hello from Dockerfile example. Usually it is it works. The default content is it works, and we are changing it to hello from Dockerfile example. And then we are installing Vim. We are updating the package repositories and then install Vim. So let's exit from this one. I'm going to save W and Q, and now if I check the Docker file content, you can see I have the content. So now I'm going to build it. I'm running the command docker build, and then you can give the tag -t, and I'm going to use Apache, and I will say Dockerfile. It's not good. I will say my new image, new, and then usually you can give the Docker file, like if you have a custom name for the Docker file, you put -f and then path to your file, but here I am using the default name, which is Dockerfile, so I can just give the path. So I'm right inside the same location, so I'm just giving the dot and run this one. You can see it is failing, so cannot create this particular. Okay, I know the reason. So because this is a particular directory that we have copied, actually the file is, this is not the file, so I need to change it. So Dockerfile, and I'll mention exactly the file. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so okay, I'm running the same command again, docker build -t and Apache. This is the new name, Apache my new dot, and you can see it is building. So you can see that my commands are running now. So apt update y is running, and then now apt install vim is running. You can see these commands have run successfully. So now the image has been created. Now if I clear the window and if I run docker images, now there should be 4 images. These are the 4. These 2 I downloaded directly from Docker Hub, and this one we created from a container, and this is the newly created image which we have created using a Docker file. And if I run docker ps, I can see I have 2 containers running. This one is from the default Apache, and this is the one that we have changed actually from this particular image. And now I'm going to create another container using this image, the one that we have created using Dockerfile. So this particular image in the index.html, it will have a different message. The message is, if I get this one, I can remember the message, guys. So hello from Dockerfile example, this will be the message. So let's start another container, docker run td. I'm going to give it a name. Let's see, Dockerfile Apache, and I'm going to start, give it a port 6, and then I'm going to give the name Apache my new. Okay, started, and if I shoot the docker ps command again, you can see now I have 3 containers, the default one and the one that we have created from the container, and now from the new image. Now I'm going to access this particular port 8086 from the browser. Now I should see what I should see. I should see that my new content, localhost 8086, the new content is hello from Dockerfile example. Okay, you can see the content is now the hello from Dockerfile example. And if I go inside this one, docker exec t Apache and bash, and if I try to use the command vim, you can find the vim is available. Alright, alright. So now we have tried this one. So we have pulled an image from the Docker Hub, and then we created a container using that one, and then we have done some changes to the container and committed it back as a new image. And then we have created a Docker file, and using Docker file also we have done the same thing. We have created a new image, and using that we have started the container. So now you know what is an image and what is a container, and how to create image or build images, and how to use containers, how to run containers, and where to find the images and all. So you have all the basics information. So it is time for you to try something on your own. So that's all for this session. So if you have any questions, guys, please don't hesitate to put them into the comment section. So I will check them and I will reply and I will try to help you out to get started with Docker. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.